Let's go. Good morning, my friends. It's your old pal PeaceLoveMusic here with another episode of the Let's Go Good Morning Show, brought to you live by DeOrganized Media every Monday through Friday in partnership with our good friends over at BitcoinLive, Decentralized Broadcasting. We actually have a great guest. We have Diego May from BitFlow here to tell us all about all of the new stuff going on at BitFlow, and it's crazy. If you aren't aware, they got some awesome stuff going. I can't wait to get into that conversation. It's Thursday morning, the 30th of January. The first month of the year flew by. So much stuff going on, and we got a couple of days left in the week. We're gonna crank it and get the work done so we can touch grass this weekend. And everyone here has been cranking, so we definitely need to get some grass touching. Friendly reminder: we are a news show. We are providing news and information only. We are not financial advisors. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research and never invest money you cannot afford to lose. With that being said, the numbers look pretty good today. Bitcoin's up, coming in at 105,378, a little bit before broadcast. Stacks slightly higher at $1.27, hopefully finding a bottom on this correction. Sitting at the number 56 place by market cap on CoinMarketCap. Fear and Greed Index actually moved up to 54, and the top three gainers on CoinMarketCap for the past 24 hours are XCN, Fartcoin, and Dexy. The Stacks DeFi news. Hermetic yield coming in at 31% today on USDH. That's amazing. If you haven't checked out BitFlow's automated buying feature, you should definitely head over there to do it. Set it, forget it, and go touch your grass. A new token IDO is launching on Alex RuneMine. That's ticker is mine. Token IDO launching on February 3rd, creating infrastructure for meme coins. Velar perp trading is coming soon. We're just waiting for the confirmation of consistent fast blocks, which is coming to Stacks, and we're returning to Ape. Also, don't miss their guide to launching self-deployed liquidity pools on Velar. Zest's offering 7.29% yield on SBTC, and their highest yield today is an amazing 93.65% on USDA. The rates at Stacking DAO this morning are 8.37 on Liquid STX, or you can receive yields on your STX in native Bitcoin at 8.04%, and now highly awaited and now available 7.37% in yield on SBTC. And the top three Stacks tokens on Velar this morning are Leo, SAI, and Velar. Velar looking good. Friendly reminder, my friends, when you stack your STX, you earn yield in Bitcoin. It's the best deal going in town, unless you take advantage of some of the other yield opportunities in the space. Even better. But you can secure the network, stack your stacks, earn Bitcoin, repeat. Which US-based crypto are you most bullish on? Tell us in the comments. The calendar for the day. And again, I'm reminding everybody, we need to get everyone to go and set up an account at DeOrganized.media. If you have a show and we're not covering it on the morning show and you want us to shout you out, you got to get on there. We're getting more people in on it, and we're starting to get more groups available, but we still need more. So to get on the calendar, go over to deorganized.media. As always, we have our show Monday through Friday at 8:30. We have the working group. The BNS public meeting is at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time today. That's in the middle of our Find to Earn episode with Zenatron, which happens at 10 a.m. Eastern. The Bitcoin Pepe Community Forum is at 11 a.m. Great group of people. Actually, I'm rocking this awesome hoodie that Nobody Famous made for me. Look at that. Got my logo on there and everything. I'm so psyched about this. I'm going to wear it every Thursday in honor of their spaces. So go check them out. Great group over there. And unfortunately, we did actually have Good Kitty's Melanie Carson's Bitcoin and Beyond show was scheduled for noon today, but she had to postpone it. So she'll be back next week. But there was her husband Arno is performing today at the time of the show, and it just wasn't able to line that up. So that is the calendar we have for the day. And again, if you have other shows, let us know. Get them on the DeOrganized calendar so we can help support and amplify what you all have going on. Grayscale launches Bitcoin miner ETFs with the ticker MNRS. In response to suggesting that Aave DAO should acquire the Ethereum Foundation, Aave's Mark Zeller said, quote, "Let's do it." That'd be interesting. DeepSeek is the largest open source AI model, rivaling ChatGPT with 670 billion parameters at a fraction of the cost. I've heard mixed results, actually. People are saying that they can't get on it to try it. It's so overwhelmed with traffic, which suggests that, scaling might cost a little bit more than their current value proposition. Bitcoin shrugs off FOMC concerns as traders are eyeing 108K, with indicators showing plenty of room for more upside. We'll have to check in with Landy on that. I haven't talked to him in a couple of days about it. He seemed optimistic on Tuesday. Illinois proposes a state-run Bitcoin reserve with a 5-year HODL mandate under HB. I wonder if HODL is actually in the legislation. I hope not. I'm not a fan of that term, by the way. HB 1844, aiming to position BTC as a long-term treasury asset. The state and institutional adoption continues. Norway's central bank holds $500 million worth of MicroStrategy shares. Pump.Fund, this was surprising to me. Pump.Fund flips Solana and Ethereum in monthly revenue. That's nuts. That's nuts. GMCI launches USA Select Index, tracking US-based cryptocurrencies like XRP, Sol, and Doge. They definitely need to know about stacks if they don't. If I was putting money on any of them, any of those three, I would buy stacks first, as I have. Bitcoin ETFs not financial advice. Bitcoin ETFs in 2025 have already accumulated 3 times more BTC than has been mined. Number's gonna go up. Do you guys have a .btc name? If you don't, you should get one. You can get one now over at bns.one. They've announced a number of platform enhancements for user interface, listing marketplace enhancements, and more. Head on over to bns.one to get your own .btc.stx or other BNS digital ID. And we are anticipating more functionality in the ecosystem over time for your BNS names. Have you checked out Zero Authority bounties lately? There are currently a couple of bounties active right now. Head on over to zeroauthority.xyz, go to bounties, follow the directions, and participate and possibly earn STX and or SBTC now on one of those bounties, still ongoing. By now, you've all heard about AIBTC.dev and their process for launching AI DAOs. All you have to do is post on X at prompt2DAO, telling it the details of the DAO you want to create, and it does it for you with AI agents running your AI DAO. And the new enhancements are being added regularly. Go check them out. And token trading is now live on Fact.Fun. Fact.Fun is a new bonding curve platform. So now we have 2 in our ecosystem. It's STX City, which I'm a huge fan of. I love their stuff as well. And now also on Fact.Fun. There's a bunch of bonding curve tokens over there now. So go check them out. Find to Earn is possibly coming to mornings episodes as well. We'll be with you at 10 a.m. in a little while with Zenatron to play some more games, and really looking forward to that. It's been super fun the last few weeks, and people seem to really enjoy it. And I think we're going to start adding it at the end of the daily show as well. We'll see. Looking to get started as a dev on Stacks, head over to stacks.co. Get started is at the top right-hand side. You go to Access Developer Tools. Learn the basics, build a full app, and even get ways to paid. There are even ways to get paid to build an app. And if you're interested in helping builders and devs test out their projects on Stacks, we're building a tester QA community. DM me at PeaceLoveMusic on X if you are interested. And that is the news we have for the day. I am super excited to talk to our guests. I have GPSC waiting in the wings. as always, my awesome guest co-host, well, not guest co-host, my awesome daily co-host, and we have Diego from BitFlow. How are you today, Diego? What's happening, man? I can't hear you.
There you go. It's
there
classic.
He is.
I'm just testing the mic.
Blockface does that. Blockface will probably be joining us at some point.
Oh, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I was surprised. You said it's February. I'm like, what?
Did I say February?
You did. Is it? Oh, almost February. I was like, okay. I thought it was first. I'm like, man, time flies.
It's almost, yeah. Well, the first month is the first month we're at the very end of the first month of the year.
It's done.
So I wouldn't be surprised if I actually said February, even though I was thinking January, because
maybe it was just me. But I was like, time is flying anyways. I can't believe
we're already a month through the year. I mean, it is
Valentine's in 15 days and half of the quarter's gone. So
yeah, well, but what a month it's been for BitFlow. You guys have been killing it.
Well, it's been I think it's been a pretty good month for everyone. I would say. We started the year. We hit the ground running like everybody. But we're building. Like I said, short steps, long vision, and we keep on going. There's a lot for us to deliver, but there's also a lot for us to catch up on with the community and continue to do what we do best, which is best place to earn, best place to trade. Remove all the clunkiness from DeFi. I don't think DeFi is very broad yet. I think we need to remove a lot of barriers to entry. We need to make UX better so that we can onboard the next billion users to Bitcoin and Stacks. So let's go.
Definitely. And you guys have brought a ton of value though. I mean, the basic functionality, just the aggregator where people can go to BitFlow and get the best rate on whatever trade they're trying to make in the ecosystem. That's a huge value add to the space, just having that. So
no, for sure. And that was a direct community, like we're building out in the open, as you guys know. It's been over 2 years, and it was around summer last year. We started seeing that pain point, and we said, you know what, we need a better place to trade. We need to show rates across all dexes. Liquidity, even though on Stacks is still growing, it still is very fragmented, and it makes it hard for the user. At the end of the day, the only one who suffers is the user that's trying to trade. There's slippage, pool depth, finding the best rate, manually trying to compare. And I think that was definitely a big win. It was something that we, as opposed to being just competitors to other dexes, we follow our vision of really BFFs. Like, how can we add value to the whole ecosystem, not just users but builders as well. We drive traffic to Alex, Valor, Arcadico, and more. Even to think about, like, Arcadico almost has like 3 million in TVL that was just kind of sitting there. Valor, Alex, being able to trade tokens that are on each other's dexes, and also finding new routes. I think that's what's the key about the aggregator. People think of the aggregator as just like showing all of the possible pools, but the aggregator also creates new routes that doesn't exist anywhere else to find you that best rate. So sometimes you may be jumping from Stacks to Welsh, Welsh to Stacks, Stacks to ST Stacks in 2 or 3 pools, because of the pool depth, because of the composition, because of the rate that you're getting in those pools. So it also drives transactions and fees through smaller pools that sometimes would just kind of be forgotten. So there's a bunch of stuff that happens to optimize and find that best rate. I think we're close to 100,000 possible routes now. And every new token creates, not too good at math, but it creates dozens of new possibilities, and allows smaller tokens with not a lot of liquidity to leverage deep liquidity. So if you have a meme token paired with Stacks, or a meme token paired with USDC, you can leverage the other USDC and the other Stacks pools by hopping through it. So there's a bunch of cool features for sure. Jupiter does a really good job on Solana. That's something that we definitely see it as a benchmark. And then we also added the Uniswap's liquidity pools as a base layer. So you have all these trading pairs, and a lot of them are going through some of the the base layers of Stacks and USDC. Now we have SBTC and Stacks. So low slippage, low fees, the lowest possible fees. We also don't charge for the aggregator. We don't charge any fees on top. So if you swap on Bitflow and you see a direct Alex route or Alex hopping through Velar, we don't make a buck. It's purely to drive value to the community and find the best rate. And I think it's a win-win.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Tremendous value add to the ecosystem. And so I wonder, I'm assuming you're familiar with Rozar's like self-managed liquidity pool SIP that he's working on. He would have to have talked to you guys about it, I'm sure. So is that going to open up? You guys will have that will actually be more channels to
exactly. It'll be the additional liquidity sources that will run through the aggregator for sure. Yeah. We are getting ready to integrate that.
Crazy. So, and then you guys also just launched.
I saw,
go ahead, GP.
Yeah, I saw Dylan on Leonidas's podcast last night, or Spaces last night, getting on stage, and that's got me feeling a little bit bullish, man. Things maybe we can get some people, get the word out there, and really see these pools flourish. That was about I tuned in to see. I was really excited to see Dylan on the.
No, for sure. And like you said, Peace. We are aggregating a fact. We are aggregating Stack City as well. So as soon as you finish the bonding curve on those pools, it automatically shows up on Bitflow if you choose Bitflow as a destination. So that automation also was a work with AI BTC team. And then the runes, AMM, we have live pools for the SIP10. Now what we're doing is we're bringing a bunch of cool automated services. Okay, these are going to make trading layer 1 assets much easier. So right now what we have Pontes, the bridge. You bridge over these assets, and then you can swap them using stacks, speed, security, and all of that cool stuff. Now that we're bringing a lot of the automation services, we did a recent article on what Bitflow keepers are, but think of personalized smart contracts just for you. And these are very important, not only for humans, but also AI agents, right? But what we're doing with these keepers, think of, simplifying a bunch of steps into one and allowing the automation to run for you. So one simple automation is bridging over these assets, let's say Bitcoin or L1, runes to stacks, swapping, then bridging it back out. So that automation can be done in a single transaction. Basically, it takes one Bitcoin transaction to confirm. Because we're very lucky to be on stacks, Clarity reads the state of Bitcoin. In one Bitcoin transaction, you kind of lock in your rate, you swap, and now it's about 2 blocks back out. The cool thing about this automation is that allows users to do DCA, limit orders, portfolio rebalancing, auto restaking, auto yield optimization, and a bunch of other cool stuff. So one of the key things that we're rolling out with runes, which I think is going to be very attractive, is DCA, dollar cost average or recurring buys. And why is that important? Because right now, if you want to DCA into runes, you have to do it manually. Right, that's one thing, but you can also DCA into Bitcoin. You can DCA into native Bitcoin. You can DCA into SBTC. You can DCA with any tokens, which is key as well. We're using the term DCA because it's common knowledge, but you could dollar cost average with USDH or stacks or whatever other meme token and DCA into another token. So when you think of the dollar cost average, you can also kind of sell at a certain point. So you say, I want to swap my Welsh for Leo at this price range every 12 hours for the next 10 days. And what you're actually doing, you're kind of rebalance your portfolio as well. But this, opens up a bunch of possibilities. It makes the L1 to L2 connection much, much smoother. It is kind of clunky right now. You have multiple steps. And also with DCA limit orders, the amount of time that it takes to these L1 assets to go back into your wallet doesn't really matter that much because you're just doing recurring buys. So the cool thing is, imagine you do, 10 days. I want to buy 10 USDH a day of dog. And then at the end of the order, you bridge out. So you only pay one bridge fee or one L1 fee, one Bitcoin fee, instead of every time a transaction is done. So that's also part of the option of the DCA. And I think that's going to open a lot of opportunities for the Stacks ecosystem. We're already using these keepers. If you go to Bitflow, you can do native swaps. You can do Bitcoin to Stacks, Stacks to Bitcoin. Now we're going to allow you to do native Bitcoin to any SIP10, and then native Bitcoin to Runes and Runes to Runes. So we're rolling that out eventually, but the DCA is going to be live, I think, tonight or tomorrow for beta.
Cool.
That's like something that we're super excited. It just shows the power of Stacks, like how Stacks can be used, even if it's under the hood. The other opportunity that we have is we can, with Stacks, we can kind of sponsor these transactions. So we're actually like sponsoring, paying for the cost of these smart contracts. So when I say a keeper, we're actually deploying your smart contracts on behalf of the user for your wallet. And also allows the user to come in without holding any stacks and just transact with L1 assets. Sell Bitcoin and buy dog, sell Billy and buy BTC without even know that Stacks is running under the hood. I think we're very thankful to have Xverse and Leather Wallet that integrates both, so that makes our job much easier. The users just come in with a wallet that they already know. They connect, both the Stacks and the Bitcoin address. They create a swap, and within a few minutes, they have a real AMM. I think the market is suffering from liquidity, and that comes because there's not enough DEXs and real AMMs out there. But I think once that barrier is solved, you're going to see a lot of arbitrage opportunities between RuneDex, Saturn, Arch, Magic Eden, DotSwap, and I think that's what we want. We want people to have the freedom to move forward and go anywhere they want. So that's definitely something we're excited. We just launched in December 3 pools: Dog, Billy, and Runes by Jack, and these are going to be the first ones that allow you to DCA and limit orders as well as soon as like this week.
Now, so if I wanted to DCA my dog token into SBTC, I could do that. I can sell my dog. I can swap that back and or vice versa.
Dog cost averaging.
Yes, exactly. That's a good one.
Dog dollar averaging.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing that kind of like blew my mind. Even though we worked on this for a few weeks, and I look at it, I was like, oh, I can actually like balance my portfolio by saying if it hits this amount, then swap dog for Billy or Billy for Bitcoin or Bitcoin for this. And the cool thing, like I think SBTC is the best way to park your Bitcoin. I mean, you're earning yield, you got all this cool opportunity. So DCAing into SBTC is like it's a win-win. But yeah, you don't have to go just to stables, and I think that's what's awesome. It's like, sell my dog for Bitcoin, and then you do another order. You can do another order that says buy at this other price range. So now you're kind of like doing, doing two sides of the trade. So, DCA every time, every day between the ranges of 6 to 7 sats. And then on the other order, you say sell dog between 8 and 9. So you're kind of like automating that,
So a friend of mine who is a financial advisor, a good friend of mine, like a brother of mine, essentially. I grew up, good friend of mine, like family. And he's always advised me that you should never, this is general financial advice from what I understand, you should never have more than 5% of your portfolio in any one asset. So is that something you could set up where here's my portfolio, if any one of these actually ends up being more than 5% of my total portfolio, sell it for this or rebalance?
You will be able to do that. Yes. That is definitely something that we want to bring, like automated portfolio rebalancing. I think that'll be key. I like everyone, I do it manually. Centralized exchanges, as you know, offer all of those tools because they're doing all off chain. But being able to do it on the DEX, I think that's pretty awesome. And with the DCA, you also have control of the total spent, right? Because all you're actually doing, you're saying, I want to sell $100 or 100 USDC for Billy, and then you have sort of a limit. But I want to do it at market rate, or I want to do it at this rate, and I want to expire maybe never, or expire at whatever. So you do have those controls, but the portfolio rebalance would be something really cool. And that's just the beginning of it. And again, these keepers, like, even though we're launching on Bitflow, it allows any protocols to use them as well. So that's something that we're excited. Right now, you're going to be able to DCA and do all these automations using the pools on Bitflow, but we hope to open up to all of the SIP10s very soon. And allow all of that cool stuff that makes DeFi kind of hard to use or complex.
Awesome. I mean, it's I don't want to, like, you're talking about it very casually, but this is actually really deep stuff that you guys are developing over there. It's really tremendous value added functionality to our ecosystem, which should help us attract more liquidity because you have those kind of tools. I don't know if I'm pretty sure GPSC, Diego. I don't know if you've ever met Michael, Attract Funding. He's been with us since the D grants process. He's tremendous value add in the space. And May, I just met this morning in Michael's space. She's newer to the ecosystem, so she might have some different questions for you that might add some.
I don't know anything about crypto. I don't know anything.
That's why I wanted to have May here, because oftentimes we're talking about swapping Catcoin into espresso machine, and people are like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?" Right? And so I wanted to introduce kind of like the canary in the coal mine in May, so that for the folks that sometimes you're around this space so long, you become apprehensive to ask the beginner questions. And because Bitflow is open source, I scraped all the documents for using Cursor and brought them into Notebook LM and started asking questions. And even with AI, it was like, wow, this is a lot of information to take on. And so I wanted to introduce May because she's a new member of this kind of personal transformation coven. Think tank is a nice way to say it.
Yes.
And so I find that she's very strong at asking the very fundamental questions that are on audience's mind. So before I introduce her questions, I want to just ask you a quick question, which is, for all of the AI agent creators out there working in Rust or Python or TypeScript or maybe soon Wasm, it sounds like Bitflow is either top 5 or at least number 1 or 2 in terms of where you should be building AI agents if you believe in a Bitcoin future as cash, collateral, capital, and credit. Is that right? For the AI people in the audience watching right now, what could they do right now with like the Bitflow SDK to realize everything you just talked about? And then I would like to introduce you to May and have her kind of ask you from fundamentals, the ground up, about Bitflow.
No, that's an awesome question. There's a lot. We already are integrated with the AI BTC dev group. So they are using the Bitflow SDK for routing and launching pools as well, deploying, the DAO.
The DAO. It's going nuts. 500,000 in its first day, I think.
Exactly. So We believe that agents will be online 24/7, and you're going to be able to access. Right now, you can access the BitFlow SDK to use not only our liquidity pools, our APIs, our pricing, all of the good stuff, but also use these automation tools. So as well as the market and social insights. So we are aggregating liquidity sources, but we're also aggregating data. And we're trying to do that in the best way possible. Luna Crush integration, pull market data, pull all of the good information so that it can give the user and the agents the best,
Beautiful.
the best data to make those decisions. So some use cases of what we call Bitcoin DeFi, could include like automate trading operations. An ARB bot is the first thing that comes to mind. I've been playing around with AIBTC.dev. I don't know if you guys have
They're the greatest, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
You can build an ARB agent right now, and you say, hey, trade every time stacks go up this, and use the BitFlow liquidity pools to balance, because you have to remember that even within Bitcoin, BitFlow and the stacks ecosystem, you may have pools that are 65% stacks, 35% Welsh, and then you have another pool which is USDA, 45, 55, etc. Just the balancing of those pools of the same
heterogeneous pools that need balancing.
Exactly. It gives you so much ARB opportunity. Sometimes they do it manually. Sometimes they'll take screenshots. I sent to friends. I was like, hey, if you put, $1,000 here, you get $1,100 back. That's kind of like not a financial advice, but I think you should do it.
You're kind of like the legend of SBF all over again, huh?
But then, these agents are going to be able to optimize yield for you, rebalance your portfolio, unstake, stake in new liquidity pools, manage the crypto portfolio based on like whatever your risk tolerance is, monitor these ARB opportunities, maybe turn your Bitcoin into more Bitcoin just by rebalancing the pools. Nothing crazy, nothing magic. It's not free money. And the cool thing is that these agents are going to be able to use these automations across the DeFi ecosystem. So imagine and then you have the LLMs part, the language model, where you can chat with these agents. But imagine just saying, hey, how's my portfolio today? I would like to rebalance. I'd like to maybe buy more Bitcoin. Or can you unstake it from, this liquidity pool and add to Zest? How's my Zest returns going? Can you get those, reclaim it and put it into stacking DAO? I mean, the possibilities is endless. So if you're building AI and you want to build something on Bitcoin, Stacks is the place to go. We're here to offer the support with the BitFlow SDK. We're launching a bunch of keeper contracts. We're putting all out there. We'll give you the code. We'll show how it's done. And we're looking forward, because I think that's the catalyst for the next year, for the next few years. It's gonna be really freaking huge.
Amazing. So this is perfect.
Yeah,
so,
I saw some stuff
again,
with the-
May. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, GPSC.
Sorry about that. I've got a little bit of a lag. I saw something on Abstract, right, where Jack launched a Salma chatbot. Is that something that maybe you could see with keepers here in the future, is like voice to prompt?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you use the AI BTC, they already have sort of a chat, but anybody could deploy a language model to interact with these keepers, and that's the key. Because an agent, if you give the agent just access to your wallet, that's kind of dangerous, right? But if you give them access to these keepers, and these keepers are given just a certain permission with just certain settings, and you can say, all this keeper can do is bridge L1 to L2 asset. This other keeper can swap. This other keeper can unstake and restake it. So you kind of give permissions and limitations. With AI BTC, for example, they have an agent that all it does is think of a bank account. Instead of directly accessing your funds in your wallet, you transfer 100 USDC or stacks to this agent's bank account, and that's the money that they can play with, right? So yeah, I think keepers not only makes it safer, but it's also non-custodial in the best way possible. I mean, it's the user's wallet. The protocol, BitFlow, or anybody else has no admin keys to that, and allows the user to just make those decisions, but allow the agents to also be under control, which I think is important. If you know, if you can play around with AI chats and ask them to do anything, they will swap. I had one in the beginning of the tests with AI BTC, and I started doing ARB, but it traded all my stacks, so I ran out of gas money within like a few hours. And I said, okay, now let me retrain this guy. Do not spend more than 70% of the stacks in my wallet, and make sure that you're not spending more than half a stacks for gas. And whenever you do get to 30% of whatever I have in stacks, swap something else for stacks so that I can keep on doing these ARB opportunities. But that's all. Like I said, AI. I think it's the reason I'm bullish on is because we build all this tech, keepers, AI, automation, liquidity infrastructure, boom, and then we gotta abstract that away and allow the user to just interact with the machine or interact with DeFi without even knowing what's running in the back end. And I think that's what's key, because DeFi is already complex, and we think that AI can like remove those barriers, make it super easy to use, so that you don't have to really think about it. Like restaking, farming. It's hard to explain. It kind of like it's painful. Like sometimes I remember, oh man, I got to go to Pancake Swap because I got some rewards to claim, and now like I got to swap and then put it back in the pool. Imagine like AI doing all that for you and just keeping you up to speed, and chatting and talking with the AI is key. You can just say, how's my portfolio? You suggest that I trade anything today? I would like to start DCAing, and everything else is happening on the back. All of the boring, clunky, complex stuff of DeFi is happening automatically. And I think that's what's awesome.
So can I ask a few questions, if that's okay?
Please.
Okay. So I don't understand crypto. I'm just an average person. And I'm assuming, Diego, you're coming on here to like pitch a product in a way. I literally don't understand the terminology, so I don't understand what your goal would be. So what is your goal with being on this like space here to talk about this?
For sure. I think it's to share all of the cool stuff that we're building, all of the tools that would make easier for everyone to trade and earn on Bitcoin. I think that's the goal. Bitcoin itself has been sitting idle for years. And I think what Stacks, Clarity Language, and Bitflow is unlocking is a place and an environment where users can just come and trade and earn and participate in DeFi without having to know all of the complexity and all of the technical jargons that I was throwing here. I think that's the goal.
That's awesome. So for me, like when it comes to getting into crypto, that's pretty intimidating. Like you have to learn a whole bunch of this other stuff. It's very complex, and it's not really worth it for me in a lot of cases. And I feel like a lot of other people feel that way as well. So I would think that you would want to be bringing more people to the space through this product that you've created, right?
That is correct. There is a barrier to entry to DeFi. Even friends that are in traditional finance, or these guys are doing perps and futures and forex and I mean fancy stuff and trading commodities, and then you ask them to come.
Yeah, those crypto spaces I do not enjoy. I don't understand anything that's being said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I use E-Trade since 1998, for example, and I find it easy. Something that my dad, who's a boomer, can go into E-Trade, answer a few questions, balance the portfolio. I'll give like a few examples. It's been over 10 years that I use E-Trade's automated tool, and it beats SP 500 and beats my own trading all the time because I'm not a daily trader. It's rebalancing my portfolio, buying and selling international stock, like just rebalancing based on my risk factor. And all I did is I answered maybe 5-7 questions, and it's just running out there, right? So everybody knows how those tools actually work, and I think we have to bring those to DeFi. And we have to make it, strip away all of the DeFi terms and jargon, so it makes it easy for people to just come in and say, what is your goal? Oh, I have, I want to buy a little bit of Bitcoin every day. That's all. Like, I want to create a savings account with Bitcoin. Awesome. You answer a few questions or you talk to the chat. or with an LMM model, and it starts doing for you. So I think that's the goal. It's like to onboard more people, make it easy to use, and allow other protocols or applications to build even more cool stuff on top.
Okay. So would you say that there is, like, if someone came into the space, like this conversation here, and they were like, why should I care about like starting in crypto? Do you think that there's incentives to getting involved in crypto now that maybe won't be available later, or that you should just get involved in it for some reason?
I'm super biased. I'm very long.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll let people here answer as well, but I think it's never late. I know it's people say it all the time. You're early. But we know exactly where this is going to be in 10 years from now, 20 years from now. We expect, we have that vision. So, my brother calls me, hey, Diego, is it a good time to buy Bitcoin? The answer is always going to be yes. So I'll let the others here give their thoughts on it. But yes, for my non-financial advice, it is always a good time to get into crypto. You do have to, do your research. Be careful with shitcoins. Be careful with rugs. Go for the stuff that just works. I think of crypto as, the tech boom of the 1990s. There's going to be some winners. There's going to be some losers. Spread out. But look at these protocols as tech companies. Like, which ones are really going to survive? What value are they bringing to the ecosystem? Even if it's Solana, ARB, Base, Stacks. And always Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin it's the go-to asset. So if someone is just coming in new, and I say forget anything, just DCA into Bitcoin and forget it.
Yeah, I second
Nice.
that opinion, and again, not financial advice, but Bitcoin's the one blue chip. There are a number of other large projects, and my other advice: dollar cost average in, so get an idea of what you want to buy in with, and then a time frame to buy in with. So if it's $1,000, you might want to do $100 a day for the next 10 days, or $100 a week for the next 10 weeks, or whatever there's all sorts of ways to do it, but I wouldn't try to throw all my money in at one time. And then look at it as a long-term hold investment. It's not a trade. You're not buying into trade. You're buying into invest in that scenario. And
So
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. Just one follow-up question. If, like, on top of the advice that you would give someone to do, does anyone have any advice on what not to do? Like, bad mistakes you've made, how to avoid that?
Don't try to buy
Same
everything.
mistake, how can they do it better?
Don't try to buy everything you see. Do the homework. Don't rush into any project.
Got you.
Don't
Okay.
leverage. Don't leverage.
Don't leverage.
I
No,
mean,
you absolutely know what you're doing.
in real traditional finance, you see 5x, 2x, 10x. In crypto, you see like 30, 40. It's insane.
50x.
What does leveraging mean?
Say that again, May.
What does leveraging mean?
So it's when you you're putting up your asset, but on the platform, you're actually getting to trade at a higher amount. So if you have $100 on there, but you're trading in with 50x leverage, you're actually trading with $5,000 instead of $100. So you're getting the value of a $5,000 purchase, but you're also taking the risk. So you have a liquidation point where if the trade goes against you, you lose your entire money. And that's the more leverage you're using, the more likely that's going to happen sooner than later. It's very, very risky trading.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about in the space earlier, right? With the basically taking a loan out against your Bitcoin. It's a bad
wasn't
idea.
part of that conversation.
It's only a bad.
Oh.
It's only a bad idea if you suck at trading, isn't it?
Well, it could actually be a
Right.
great idea. Long term, that's probably the plan for most people that are accumulating Bitcoin is to.
If it's good enough for Morgan Stanley, you just get bailed out. Isn't that how it works? Don't we
bailed
get
out.
bailed out if
You might,
no?
but
Oh,
if
I thought we get bailed out. As above, so below. What the fuck? Anyways, keep going. I like these questions. These questions are beautiful because these are the exact questions that are on people's minds. And Diego and Bitflow have built an entire system that allows people to do everything they do in traditional finance with these digital assets like Bitcoin and otherwise. So you're in the perfect place. Keep asking questions.
Okay. Let's see. When it comes to like taking a loan out basically on your Bitcoin, do you think that people should only do that if they are confident that their loss would not be devastating?
any investment would be, you should never invest money you cannot afford to lose. But so that
Okay.
way that would work is you're staking your Bitcoin for collateral on like Zest protocol or something, and as you stake it for collateral, you can borrow against it. So maybe you're going to borrow USDH, and you're borrowing it so you can stake the USDH and earn yield, because USDH is a dollar stable coin on Hermetica, which is another project in our ecosystem. So you're staking it on Hermetica to earn yield. And or maybe you're speculating on Bitcoin, and instead of staking it on Hermetica, you're just actually using the proceeds to buy more Bitcoin, and then you're going to add that to your collateral, and you can kind of start leveraging that way. There's a, you're getting into leverage in that situation, but long term, it could also just be if you're speculating the value of Bitcoin is going to go up against dollars per se over time, which I expect it will. So let's say you have 100 Bitcoin. It's worth 100 Bitcoin is what? $10 million. So you have $10 million worth of Bitcoin roughly right now, and you want to borrow 10% of that. So it's $1 million, and you're going to live on that for the next 10 years, 100K a year. 10 years from now, your Bitcoin's worth hopefully way more than $10 million. So instead of actually paying that $1 million back, you refinance that $1 million based on what the Bitcoin's worth now. You just want to make sure that you're not reaching anywhere near the threshold of liquidating your collateral. Or it could also just be your exit strategy, where you borrow the money against your Bitcoin and let it collapse, and then you don't have a taxable event.
I think that's the be your own bank, the type of mindset where if you accumulate enough Bitcoin, you can just borrow against your own collateral. And the worst case scenario, you sold your Bitcoin, right? But
so is what you're saying that Bitflow has enabled the individual to provide to avail themselves of all of the services that they would typically go to a bank for?
well, not yet, but maybe in the future.
What's missing? Mortgages?
Maybe in the future. But
come on, got to do the Bitcoin mortgage. That's like,
I like Bitcoin
on,
mortgages, Bitcoin
know,
insurance. I think anything that can use Bitcoin. Imagine like you take out a loan against your Bitcoin, you buy your car. Car is the thing that depreciates the most, right? You take it out of the dealership, 25% is boom, out the door. But imagine like you use that, and then let's say you bought a car. Bitcoin was a 50,000. You bought a $25,000 Civic. You took a 50% loan on it, right? Which is doable, 50 to 80. Now Bitcoin is at 100. You just paid your Civic, and you still have 75K, right? So that's like I think Bitcoin-based lending and borrowing is going to become the norm. But the last option for me is to sell any Bitcoin. So borrowing against it, I think that's the plan. Yeah, but the idea right now is making that liquidity flow, making it easy to trade, offering the infrastructure so other DeFi protocols can run on top, and see where we go. I mean, hopefully we'll be bankless again.
Again?
Again, yeah.
Like, when was this? once a
Well,
thing.
it is a thing right now in a few countries. There's not enough banks in a few rural areas, but there was a time and place where people didn't have a bank account. Especially if you go in the suburbs in the U.S. in the 70s, people didn't have a bank account. But right now, if you go to certain places in Brazil or Africa or wherever it is, there's Nigeria, for example, adopted text messages and for payments back in 2010 because there was not enough banks to go around in the country. And if you were in the city and wanted to send money to your dad on the countryside, you would have to, it would be a pain in the ass. So what they did is they started adopting SMS banking back because there was not enough banks. So there's a lot of people that are bankless today. When I say bankless, it's like, do I really need a bank account? Do I really need a bank debit account? In the US, it's easy. Like I go across the street, there's 4 or 5 banks. So like there's maybe 400 regional banks. So yeah, it's
But could being bankless be not having like a physical location that you go to and just having like all digital banks?
yeah, I think so. I haven't been to the bank in a few years, so
Yeah, me either. So also, don't you think that there could be some consequences that follow, like trying to develop a decentralized system? Have you anticipated like what consequences could come from something like that?
yes.
Because anytime something changes,
I think happiness, equality, fairness. There's a bunch of consequences that could come out of that. Of course, we're in a transition. It's not going to be an easy transition. AI is coming here, it's taking a lot of jobs. Banks are not just going to sit idle. Wall Street is not going to sit idle. Even the promises of tax-free crypto gains, it's not going to go well with the Wall Streets and the bank. It doesn't, it's not going to be an easy fight. But I think what's going to happen is you're going to have a convergence. These banks and financial institutions are going to have to adopt crypto. We're seeing that already. It's obvious. There's a saying: if you can't beat it, join the fight. And I think we're just going to be using our credit cards or debit cards without even knowing that it's maybe powered by USDC, USDT stacks, or Bitcoin in the back end. I see merchants adopting payments. Imagine like you're a small mom and dad shop, you're paying 3.5-4% credit card fees, and now somebody comes in and says, "Hey, if you take this payment, you pay half a basis points or half a percent." So these are just going to be running on the back. Again, I don't know how a plane is flown. I don't know how the Rolls-Royce turbo machine works, or the turbine. I don't know how the pilot runs, but you get in the plane, you go A to B. I think that's what's going to happen with DeFi. DeFi is just going to run on the back. People are not going to be aware that they're using DeFi, and that's a successful use case for me.
And I think that you don't need to necessarily understand the A to B to be able to work with a system like that. Like, I don't know how my car drives. We were just talking about this earlier, but it drives, it turns on, and I take it places, so that works for me. But if it were ever in a bigger, more, important life decision, I would want to understand the way that something works, like the mechanics of it first, because I would want to make sure I'm making the right decision. I'm prepared for the potential pitfalls that lie ahead. And I don't personally believe that the only consequences of decentralized system is just, love and happiness and peace and all that stuff. It's a great idea, but I just don't. I think that my family owns Bitcoin, so I'm not like, I am in it in a way, but I don't think that it's like a fail safe. Like, I don't think it's it has its problems for sure, and it's gonna continue to create more problems in the future as it changes
What
the world.
problems do you see, May?
Well, I think that it creates the idea that it's possible to escape the system, and I don't believe that
No,
is
and I
so.
think
You think it's
you're
an
right.
escape into another
So
trap?
I don't think that what's being proposed is that this system, we're not looking to eliminate banking. we're enhancing it and we're making it more accessible, and we're collectively, we are creating the capacity for users to have choices in the services and how those function, and actually become more independent of centralized banking. It's a transcendence of the need or the kind of monopolization of that network, transcending it, but they're still there. They're still included. You transcend. The proper way to grow healthily is to transcend and include the thing you're transcending, so that you
yeah. And I think on a broader scale, something that it may not be the individual, myself, retail, us here, but like for a whole country, you know, like Bitcoin as a deflationary by design can help with, you know, hedge against inflation, which is something that we see quite common. Like in the US, you know, you don't think about 25, 30, 50% inflation, but other countries we do. When we moved to the US in 94, Brazil had almost 75% inflation rate. I remember, you know, the prices were changing like every 2 hours at the local store. They were printing, you know, price tags every few minutes. Also, cross-border payments. I mean, the amount of money that's spent on wire, international cross-border payments, and even payroll, it's just insane. So we hope that sort of trickles down to better salaries, better, you know, conditions, better benefits. But imagine a company that's like doing millions of dollars a day. They're spending, you know, a lot of money on fees alone. So there's a lot of stuff that, you know, again, the bank could use those systems, and why not? But ideally, what we're talking about is an open financial system where you get to, like Peace said, you get to decide as an alternative to traditional assets. You also democratize the financial access to these products. You have to remember that until the 80s, it wasn't easy to get into these products. A lot of them requires accredited investors. Even after the 83, 84, whatever the financial crisis happened, they created a bunch of products and a bunch of loopholes for people to save their money, the Roth IRAs, the 401ks, all of that great stuff. And not a lot of people had access to that. Here in the US, we're very grateful to have access to a bunch of options. You can invest in art, cars, collectibles. You can buy Pokemon cards. I collect basketball cards. You can do Jordans. You can do homes. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. But if you go outside of this US bubble, there's not a lot of investment options. Maybe buying a home, like in China, for example, there's so many homes that buying a home is not, you know, it's not going to give you that 2-3% a month return. So I think.
What about in places like Dubai?
I'm sorry?
What about places like Dubai? Wouldn't there be lots of investment opportunities there?
I would think so. I would
think that there would be too. But I understand what you mean by there's not a lot of opportunities in places that are not as wealthy as America.
Yeah,
sure.
and yeah, and
Like
sometimes it's not about being, you know, what, like for example, Brazil is the 7th largest economy. The bank system is owned by 6 families. We're talking about 6 banking systems. They don't have hundreds and hundreds of banks like we have in the U.S. So they control the inflation. They control the interest. They control the bank fees. They control all of that stuff. And just being able to break away from that, I think there's a huge impact. Peer-to-peer lending as well. There's a, you know, if you want to borrow $500, like where do you go? Like imagine doing peer-to-peer. Like I don't even have to know who PeaceLove is. Zero knowledge. I go in, I connect my wallet, I put in my collateral, and I take $500. I pay the bills, and that's it. So there's a bunch of stuff that peer-to-peer finance can also help, especially small business and individuals. But you know, at the end of the day, it is.
But you would never get rid of your like bank account, right? Like your regular bank account?
Not at the moment. Yeah. No.
Right. Okay. I'm just trying to clarify like what the system would be like. Like you can have this and it would work and be a like great resource, but only as long as like you're still on the current system. Because if you did both, then, or if you did one or the other, then you're missing out on the benefits of of the opposite.
The-
But if you only went into Bitcoin, then you wouldn't have access to any of the current systems that we have in place, right?
I don't think the goal isn't to separate from the financial system, right? It's to enhance and broaden and afford more opportunity. It's not to replace. You know,
Gotcha. I like that. I think that's perfect.
Yeah, a lot of, for example, in e-commerce, the way I look at integrating digital currencies is it's just another option on the drop down.
Right.
Google Pay, Visa, Bitcoin, fiat, just another option.
And it's obviously a lot more complex than that whenever you like get into the specifics of it. If you're really wanting to, you know, like go all into this and spend a lot of time and effort into making more money through understanding it, you can do that. But if you wanted to just get in it and kind of like not spend all of your time and energy on it, you can do that as well. It's just a matter of how much expenditure you want to put into it, I guess.
Well, it's also, you know, the risk reward, right? Because what hasn't happened in years can happen in a day. And so the idea is that for the first time in 66 years, we now have new assets, part of the core economy.
That's pretty insane.
That's insane.
Yep.
And I don't think, especially now with AI, you know, it's funny, the joke about agents. It's like, imagine if we gave Asians wallets. Imagine if we ran Asians in parallel. That's the joke, right? But imagine giving digital assets to synthetic beings. God knows, right? And so Diego and Blitzflow are creating this system upon which synthetic beings are now going to be doing our rebalancing for us.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what that's going to look like.
It's going to be really interesting. I think that's going to be very
May's just downloaded Cursor, by the way. So she's not that far away from downloading the BitFlow SDK and getting started.
I'm like right on the cusp of getting into crypto.
Yeah, that's why she's
so
here.
you're gonna start calling her Potato May?
Potato May.
Please don't do that. Please do not do that.
So now let's talk about the next step. May has Cursor.
I don't have a ton more time. We got about 20 minutes until Zenitron show coming up, so I just don't want.
This is the last question.
We gotta wrap.
So May is just becoming a developer, and she's starting with pen testing, cybersecurity. She downloaded Cursor, created her first website, the whole 9 yards. So let's imagine a world where May wanted to get her feet wet in the world of programmable money, let's say. And let's say, you know, she had people around her that could, you know, show her the ropes. Diego, can you talk about what it's like using the BitFlow SDK, just the step-by-step process, whether it's going to GitHub, downloading the thing? Can you talk about that? Because I think that could potentially be in May's future.
No, for sure. I think the best way is to bitflow.finance. There's a footer link to our documentation, which is the Git book. In the Git book, you have sort of index of all of what we do. And then in there, you have links to our API and SDK. And then right now, we don't have open keys. So you just contact us. We'll set up a key for you and API access. And in there, you can also see what the SDK does. We're actually updating our Git book today. There's a bunch of new features that has been added to it. But from there, you can, you know, find routes, get quotes. There's a bunch of do swaps, transact with the BitFlow protocol, and also all of the BitFlow aggregated liquidity pools as well. You know, you have README docs in there, but you can get APY information, you can get TVL data. But I think, you know, one way is to read and check out Clarity as well. I think there's a lot of people, smart gigabrains that can help you with onboarding on Clarity, which is the Stacks language. I think that's very helpful. So you can really start, you know, doing smart contracts. One thing that I definitely suggest, you all know Set Zeus. Zeus is a beast. He has, I think it's 101 or 100 days of clarity, and it's super, like, I don't know, it's a few bucks. You pay for it. You do this course every day, and I guarantee you, by the end of the 100 days, you will be.
It's such a good course.
Yeah.
That guy literally walks you step by micro step by like toes. He talks you through these things. It's gorgeous. It's a great
Exactly.
And
course.
he has his
That is nice.
live, like a live session every 2 weeks too.
Yes, he's such a
Yeah.
nice guy.
I think it's on. If you search 100 days of clarity, it's on Teachable. It's a self-service platform. You purchase a course. All the videos are there. It's 100 lessons, one a day. I'm not a technical person, and it's something that helps me like just understand how clarity works. You do like first day, it's like 45 minutes, and then the next day is like an hour. But I think that's an awesome way to start, from scratch to like programming your first app. It even walks through like if you want to launch your own NFT directly just by there's a bunch of stuff. Like you go, it's really awesome. Like every developer that we work with, if they're new to clarity, that's the go-to.
It helps to have a guy who used to work at JP Morgan write the tutorial.
And again, he's part of the core team behind SBTC. So
Orange Hats.
Orange Hat. I mean, there's a lot that you can learn from, and he makes it easy. But that's a good way to start.
Very nice. Thank you guys for all the advice. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, May, for coming on. You asked the really great questions. Everything you asked, leveraged. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, May, for coming on. It was great meeting you this morning, and I super appreciate that. Michael and GP, always a pleasure. Diego, great stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. What people look, Bitflow.finance is the place to go for people looking for more info.
Bitflow.finance, also Bitflow_finance on Twitter. Sign up for our DCA so you can get early access. I believe the beta is going up in 24 hours or something. If you want to start farming.
I heard you're doing the DCAI competition soon.
Am I? That's a good one. But I love to see what people can do with it. I'm very bullish on what AI BTC is building and all the cool stuff. But if you're just starting, farming on Bitflow, start on the pool page. You can deploy USDC, Stacks, SBTC, any SIP10. Choose, any of those high traffic pools. Tailor to your yield strategy. There's a bunch of different pools like high beta to more volatile pairs. You can do runes as well if you want to start with runes. You don't want to go and buy on Bitcoin yet. Just kind of buy Dog or Billy on Bitflow. Start playing with that. In every position, not only earns you yield, we have SBTC rewards on top of the SBTC rewards. So if you're holding SBTC, you're deploying in the liquidity pools on Bitflow. There's an additional promotional SBTC on top. And it's ranging, about 20% APY. You're also getting points for future rewards. You have stable pools. If you feel more, you want to take less risk, the stable pools are generating 2.5 to 5% yield. So yeah, there's a few options. Runes pool can be 100% APY. And of course, DMs are open. We love working with builders as well. So if you're building something cool and you need the infrastructure, you need access to the SDK, API. The idea is that we strip away all the liquidity infrastructure so you can focus on building other cool products on top. That's awesome. Kind of the goal.
Yeah, that's good.
Awesome.
Sweet. That sounds awesome.
Thank you guys so much.
I mean, I'm not there yet, but eventually, if I ever do get there, I'll message you.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, May, for joining us. It was great meeting you. Thank you, Diego, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Michael, GP, I love you guys all. You guys have a blessed day. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody in the audience, great questions from the audience as well. We are DeOrganized Media coming at you live on BitcoinLive Decentralized broadcasting every Monday through Friday. Join us in just about 15 minutes. We got Zenitron coming on. We're going to do Find to Earn. I think we got 5 games lined up. You can come on, earn some stacks, and we're going to be evolving that game over time. Thank you all so much. Again, tune in at 11. Go check out the Bitcoin Pepe crew. I love you guys too. Y'all have a blessed day. Thank you all for tuning in. Peace out.
Bye.